This is the Tesla Model Y, the world's best-selling vehicle. It's an electric crossover SUV that combines performance, technology, and space. And this is the BYD Sea Lion 7, another electric crossover SUV that also combines performance, technology, and space. Now, although both of these cars look very similar on the surface, there's a massive difference between the two of them. Whilst the Tesla is from an American company, the BYD is Chinese. Over the last few years, Chinese cars have started exploding in popularity across the entire world.
China is coming in with some hot new models that will shake up our roads.
These brands have started creating their own sedans, SUVs, utes, MPVs, and even their own damn hypercars to compete against legacy automakers. But here's the thing most people get wrong. The media loves to say that people buy them just because of the price, which is understandable. But whilst the pricing is a massive factor, the narrative misses the bigger picture on why these Chinese cars are becoming more and more popular every day. And as someone who lives in Australia, where Chinese cars have been very popular for quite a few years now, I think it's time to do a deep dive on the big reasons why these sales have exploded. And this is coming from someone who's very anti-Chinese car. And we start here. To start, we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room, the price of these cars. Think of a basic brand new car in Australia. For example, the Kia Picanto, starting at 22,000 Australian dollars. In China, an electric car of similar size, the Wuling Hongguang, would start at nearly $8,500. And for the price, it seems too good to be true. It makes around 40 horsepower, has a top speed of 100 kilometers an hour, and its estimated range is between 205 and 301 kilometers, which for a small commuter car is pretty good. Once again, the price of these cars are a massive factor into why they're ultra common in 2026. But to the general public, another major factor is offering more for less. Tons of these affordable Chinese cars have features such as massive touchscreens, four-wheel steering, and massaging seats. And you can find a majority of these cars for under $100,000. They completely redefine what your dollar is meant to buy. You see, legacy automakers have treated luxury like a premium tax. If you want a car that massages your back while you drive, or features four-wheel steering to help you park in tight spaces, legacy brands force you into paying six figures for something like a Mercedes S-Class. But Chinese automakers have completely changed this, and are treating these high-end features as standard equipment. Now looking at the prices, your first thought is probably, what's the catch? If I crash it, is my body getting crushed? And for a long time, that skepticism was completely justified. Older Chinese cars would receive very low safety ratings due to the build quality. But nowadays, models like the BYD Atto 3 and the Leapmotor B10 are pulling flawless, 5-star Euro NCAP and ANCAP safety ratings, which are matching and sometimes even beating the structural safety of legacy Japanese and European automakers for a fraction of the cost. But to be fair, there is one real catch to this insane value proposition, and it's something that every buyer needs to understand. Depreciation. Because Chinese automakers update their cars as fast as iPhones, constantly rolling out new microchips, better battery chemistry, and cheaper price tags, older models will drop in value incredibly fast. You're getting an absolute steal up front, but you need to accept that you're buying into a rapid tech product lifecycle, not a traditional car investment. Which brings us to the next big question. If they can give you all this luxury and safety for under 100 grand, what happens if you let the car drive itself? Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know about Tesla's full self-driving software. Elon Musk made a massive gamble by taking a standalone bet on pure vision, removing all radar and LiDAR entirely from Teslas, arguing that because humans drive using only their eyes, cars should drive using only their cameras. Well, Chinese automakers looked at that philosophy and said, why limit ourselves to human eyes when we can give the car superpowers? This is where the tech war really gets interesting. While Tesla has spent years mastering its end-to-end neural networks, brands like Huawei and XPeng are throwing billions of dollars at a fundamentally different approach, sensor fusion. Take Huawei's new ADS 3.0 or XPeng's VLA 2.0 system. They don't just rely on cameras. They back them up with ultra-high resolution LiDARs, millimeter wave radars, and ultrasonic sensors, which creates an impenetrable digital safety net. When snow or heavy fog blinds a camera, which is a major complaint when it comes to Tesla's FSD, the LiDAR can still see the exact 3D geometry of the road. The crazy part is that Chinese systems aren't just matching Tesla's full self-driving. In their home territory, they've often been outperforming it. Because they train their AI models in the absolute chaos of China's megacities, like Beijing or Shanghai, their cars are remarkably aggressive, but also fluid. They handle illegal scooter cutoffs and multi-lane roundabouts like a local taxi driver. Now hang on a second, I don't recall taxi drivers being this violent before. Never mind, that's just the nature of Hong Kong for you guys. XPeng is spending nearly $500 million a year on AI training alone, moving past just reacting to the road and deploying world models that actively predict human behavior seconds before it happens. But the real kicker for the everyday consumer isn't just how the technology works, it's what it costs. In Australia, if you want Tesla's FSD, you're stuck paying $150 a month. But Chinese brands treat these advanced autonomous driving softwares like a baseline selling point. On models like the XPeng G6 or the Huawei-backed Aito lines, this complex hardware-heavy system comes completely for free. And this points to a much bigger shift in the automotive world. Western consumers used to look at Chinese technology with a massive amount of skepticism. But today, the tech is getting so good and the manufacturing scale is so massive that legacy automotive giants aren't even trying to beat Chinese brands anymore. I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. Which brings us to the ultimate secret weapon behind the global popularity of these cars: branding and collaborations. You see, Chinese automakers quickly realized that while they had the tech, software, and price point mastered, they lacked one crucial thing in Western markets: heritage. Western buyers are fiercely loyal to their history. For example, someone that buys a BMW at 20 years old could be a BMW owner for life. So instead of companies creating new brands, they just simply bought the history.
Wait, what do you mean you can't buy towers for Robux? I mean you can buy gems/coins, but not towers for Robux. Well, but I did.
Take Lotus, for example. For decades, Lotus was the British sports car brand, famous for lightweight, raw driver cars like the Elise, Evora, and Emira. But when Geely took a controlling stake in the company, the enthusiasts, they panicked. But look at what actually happened. Geely invested billions of dollars into Lotus, completely reviving the brand by fusing classic British chassis engineering with China's best electric platforms and autonomous tech. For example, the Lotus Eletre, Lotus's first ever SUV that combines technology from China and British performance. It's an asset-light borders collaboration, which has the design and performance DNA rooted from the UK, but the blistering tech scale is entirely fueled by Geely's massive ecosystem in China. And it's not just Lotus either. Geely also has major shares in Volvo and Polestar, and now it's come to the point that the US has banned Polestar from selling cars there because of the Chinese technology involved. Then there's Malaysian car brand Proton, where in 2026, all but one Proton cars are just rebadged Geelys. But these partnerships aren't just a hidden corporate handshake. They're radically altering how cars look, feel, and are built specifically for different regions. Take a look at the newly resurrected Volvo XC70. If you're a die-hard Volvo fan, you probably remember the XC70 as a lifted, boxy family wagon. But in 2026, Volvo completely changed its design language to cater to its primary growth market, launching it first as a plug-in hybrid crossover SUV built exclusively for China. This is the perfect example of the China-specific model strategy. Western buyers still lean into traditional heritage styling, but Chinese consumers demand what the industry calls Scandinavian tech luxury. They want the premium, uncluttered aesthetic of a European cabin, but they also want it fused with insane Chinese hardware. The new XC70 rides on Geely's advanced, scalable, modular architecture, pairing Volvo's rigorous safety standards with a hyper-efficient hybrid powertrain that boasts an electric-only range of over 200 kilometers. It's the ultimate mashup: Swedish design DNA on the outside, powered entirely by China's hyper-competitive engineering underneath. And Volvo isn't alone here. Almost every major global luxury brand now designs specific long wheelbase or tech-loaded variants exclusively for the Chinese market before deciding if they will ever export them into the West. And even more common brands like Honda have also designed specific cars for the Chinese market. For example, the URV. The script has completely flipped. China is no longer just a massive market where Western brands dump their old designs, it is the literal testbed where the future design language of global cars is being written. And don't even get me started on the internationally exported models either. Chang'an Mazda co-developed their brand new 6E sedan with Deepal, which is just an electric successor to the Mazda 6. GAC produced an SUV with Toyota called the BZ3X, which is now sold in Hong Kong and Macau. Beijing Hyundai created yet another SUV called the Alexio, and Audi created a new electric brand in collaboration with SAIC called Audi? Fucking hell, I'm gonna need to study up on my legacy brands again. Okay, I think it's time I stopped talking about Chinese cars and instead, I'll show you some. Because I went down to my local BYD dealership to check out some cars. And let me tell you, this was not what I expected at all. Alright, now hopping into the Shark 6. So this is BYD's Ute. And this is the new updated version because they have a floor running board. I'm not used to this, I don't sit in trucks. But this is a brand new software. So it's actually been recently updated. So you got your gear shifter's not here, it's a column on the side. On the page, I was just in the C-Line 8 over there, and honestly speaking, the software is not as laggy as I remember, because I remember I was in a C-Line 7 a few months ago, when I was in Chatty, and there was a display, and it's actually so much faster than it used to be. You have that giant screen in the middle, and BYD actually does this thing where you can actually... What the... So, the Shark 6 has crawl mode, theme. So this is wallpapers, which is actually pretty interesting to see how they make it exactly like a phone, and it also changes the charging the vehicle display as well. So look at that. Yeah. I am slowly trying to see. Also, I was in the C-Line 8. For some reason, all the heating was on, so the heater was on like 25 degrees, and heat streamer was on as well, which was yeah, I just don't understand what was going on there. But you know what? I kind of understand now. So your map, there's built-in Google Maps, built-in Google Assistant, and once again, I think they've laid it out perfectly in this car. Wireless chargers here, cup holders. You have your box of USB-C cable, your USB cables, EV and hybrid mode, touchscreen driver display. I think they've done it really well. And right over here you have one of Australia's cheapest cars right now, the BYD Adult 1. This is an electric vehicle and it costs like $24,000 for the base model. And as you can see, probably not surprised why it costs like $24,000. It's a small hatchback. But to be fair, this is kind of a city car, so I mean, I would expect nothing less. The door handle's a lot chunkier than I thought though, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, I think that actually once again laid out really well. You got your cup holders, your wireless charger. This is not bad for a city car, but the touchscreen. This is how big a touchscreen needs to be in a car. It doesn't need to be overly massive like in the C-Line 7 or the Shark 6 or whatever it was. This is a good size for you. As long as you have CarPlay or your map or something like that, it's perfect. Now, if we want to truly understand why Chinese cars are disrupting the global market, we need to look past the design studios and right into the R&D labs. For years, the rest of the world has been waiting around for the perfect battery to fix range anxiety in electric cars. So China decided to stop waiting and just engineer around the problem. For example, take NIO. They completely bypassed traditional charging limits by pioneering the battery swap. So instead of plugging your car in and waiting at a highway rest stop for about 10-20 minutes, you drive into an automated station and under 2 minutes, a robotic system unbolts your dead battery and replaces it with a 100% fully charged battery. NIO has already crossed over 115 million cumulative swaps globally, and they're now rolling out their massive 5th generation stations that are built to service everything from their luxury flagship cars down to the affordable city cars. It completely decouples the car from the battery, which means you can upgrade your range years down the line, like changing the storage on your computer. And if you don't like the idea of your car being touched by a bunch of robots every week, look at BYD. They just unveiled their groundbreaking 2nd generation Blade battery paired with flash charging technology. We're not talking about standard fast charging anymore. This system pushes out an insane 1500 kilowatts through a single connector, and it sets a terrifying benchmark which charges your car from 10 to 70% in literally 5 minutes. They've even tested it in the absolute middle of the Mongolian desert and in minus 30-degree blizzards, proving that it can bypass the grid by using on-site solar and battery storage. BYD is building 20,000 of these stations, and they're already deploying them internationally to countries like Australia and parts of Europe. So as you can see, these cars are incredibly advanced to the point where brands like BYD are now the top-selling EV manufacturer worldwide. So why is the internet still flooded with memes making fun of them? If you spent 5 minutes scrolling on Reddit or TikTok, you've definitely seen the jokes. Memes calling the newest Chinese cars copy-paste technology. And to be fair, the internet isn't entirely wrong. In the early 2010s, a brand called Landwin released the Landwin X7. If you recognize it, yeah, it just looks like a Range Rover Evoque. And it didn't end there. The MG ZS looks oddly similar to the Mercedes GLC, the Changan Uni V looks like an Audi A5, and the Xiaomi U7? Like, guys, come on, are we serious? Anyway, when Xiaomi dropped their first car, the Su 7, car enthusiasts immediately pointed out that from the side profile, it just looks like a Porsche Panamera, with headlights stolen straight off of a McLaren 720S. And if you go back a few years, you'll find Chinese cars that were almost identical clones of Range Rovers and humdrum European hatchbacks. And for a long time, copying the West was the ultimate stigma holding these brands back. But there's a massive plot twist to the copycat meme that most people don't even know about. Chinese companies didn't just copy Western designs, they went out and literally hired the people who designed them. Over the last few years, Chinese auto groups have been aggressively poaching top-tier designers directly from Europe. BYD hired the former head of global design from Audi. Geely brought on exclusive veterans from Volvo and Bentley. So when a new Chinese EV looks like a high-end German car, it's often because the same exact person designed the same car. They took the aesthetic formula that Western buyers have loved for generations, stripped out the legacy badge, and packed it with tech. So yeah, the memes are there, the styling similarities are definitely there, but dismissing these cars as just cheap knockoffs could potentially be a mistake in the future. Historically, the Japanese car industry was mocked for copying America in the 70s. The Korean car industry was mocked in the same way in the 90s. History is just repeating itself, and only this time, the student is moving way faster than the master. But there's one final thing that needs to be factored in: the businesses themselves. There's so many Chinese brands going global that they're not only pushing out legacy automakers, they're also pushing out other Chinese brands too. Talk about irony. So to end the video, I'm going to list every single Chinese brand currently on sale in Australia because the list is long and it isn't getting any shorter. Oh god, here we go. So, There's Ion, BYD, Sherry, Deepal, Denza owned by BYD, Verizon, Firefly, Forthing, Photon, GAC, Geely, GWM, which includes Havel, Aura, Way, and Tank, I Motors owned by MG, JAC Motors, Lead Motor backed by Stellantis, LTV, Leifas owned by Sherry, MG owned by SAIC Motors, Omoto JQ owned by Sherry, Smart backed by Geely, Xpeng, Zeekr. What the f? But what do you guys think? Would you drop your hard-earned money on a Chinese EV, or would you stick with your heritage brands? Personally, although I wouldn't be buying one myself, over the course of the video my mind has changed to the point where I genuinely wouldn't mind something like a Zeekr 7X in my driveway if it was given to me for free. That's just me, but let me know in the comments below, give me a like if you enjoyed the breakdown, and I'll see you in the next video, because who knows when the hell that's gonna come out.